we all know that due to increases in digital engagement, messaging is very, very important in bringing through that engagement. So Artur, I'm going to come back to you because I really like the way you were talking about this. Dell is really able to lean on a strong brand for their messaging in a very crowded market, but differentiation is really key. So how do you approach messaging in your campaign setup?
Long conversation, you're right. It can take more than 24 hours. So yeah, I think at Dell we're lucky we have one of the best messaging team I ever met. So that's really good to learn from them. And just one thing which I kind of personally experienced working in B2B in IT for many years is that IT companies, they tend to be on the edge of technology. So we always want to talk about latest development, latest innovations, and so on. So we kind of run in front of the herd, if I may say so, right? And that is great. But if you think about innovation cycle, by doing that, you basically focus on 6% of companies on the market. And Dell is like really trusted partner for top 500 Fortune companies, but market is much bigger. And to be relevant to other companies, we want to kind of slow down a little bit and talk about things that relevant to medium business and just regular companies, to new startups who just entering the business, who don't have like built infrastructure. And to do that, research really helps. So sometimes we do research and we find out that, yeah, we really went far away and far ahead. So we need to slow down and stop talking customer business. What our messaging team did is, so Server, which I'm working with, is very dynamic product. It changes very quickly. But our messaging team decided to be a little bit more conservative when it comes to messages. So we try to keep it consistent from generation to generation and not change it so much. But we also try to analyze what are the new demands, what are the new use cases, and also come up with the messages that would be tailored to those new value propositions. So to answer your question shortly, if you think about messaging house, as we usually call it in marketing, so Dell's messaging house is like a big cottage with a guest house and with utility house on the same garden. But it really helps because you all know that decisions are made in committees, and committees can consist of 6 or 11 people, and not all of them are IT guys. So you need to really find the right language and right message to all of them, and then it goes back to content. So how do you make sure that this message reaches the right person? But yeah, this is the name of the game for us. So we have core messages which is consistent, and then we really always fine tune it to a particular person and to particular use case on the market.
Jay, I know you work with a lot of clients on messaging. How do you find this extends beyond what Artur was discussing, which I find very interesting how, the segmentation of it is done?
Yeah, I feel like Artur is in a great position, like you guys mentioned, having that strong Dell brand backing him up at all times. And a good majority of my clients that I work here in the UK and mostly across the Europe as well do not have that brand to back them up. And that's where they do rely, on the customers or our audience intent. What are they researching about and addressing those pain points as opposed to leaning on the brand. So focusing on what the audience is really caring about, what are the challenges for them now, and coming back to Claudia's point, supporting that with the relevant content. And I feel like when it comes to messaging in today's day and age, we have to be hyper-personalized, right? We ran our media consumption study, last year and found out that since the pandemic, our audience is receiving 60% more email outreach, around 40% more calls. And, to stand out of all the competition, the messaging needs to be really tailor-made, targeted, and available at all times for the audience as well.
I think, multiple touch points are important. And I think best practices show touch points are about 10 to 11 touch points before someone's even considering, the product or the service. And I think that comes back to content messaging, right? You have to have very detailed messaging, very structured, because at any given moment, someone can, reach out and really look at your product or your service. And I think that's really important to, you know, to be very specific and to have everything aligned and on par with that one, because you need all these different touch points. It's not just one has to fit, it has to be multiple things have to fit and align, like in the Tetris game.